right. Welcome, everybody, to the Keep the Play Alive podcast. This is the first episode of many. My name is Kobe, and I'm joined by my two other co hosts. Guys, please introduce yourselves.
My name is Magnus Jones. I make music, be chilling. Gavin, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Gavin. I am just a simple man, Get the whatever. I love to play guitar and stuff like that, and that's what my hobbies are. But Kobe, what about you?
All right, everyone, my name's Kobe. Um, I'm really huge into sports, a bunch of different franchises. I could go over any games I like and whatnot. Um, But primarily, my favorite things in life right now are probably basketball, football. Um, I'm not too crazy into baseball or hockey at the moment, but we could always, I could always ease into those things.
Trying to expand the horizons.
Yeah, basically. Um, all right. So everyone, like I said, this is the Keep the Play Alive podcast. Um, This is our first time doing any sort of podcast. I think me and Magnus tried making one a few years ago. We never really s- stuck with it, but we're really hoping that this is something that people can listen to weekly. Um, because that's what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna try to record every Saturday and upload Sunday for you guys. Um, We were originally going to do that yesterday, but decided to record today. Gavin was pretty busy. Gavin, if you want to expound upon that.
Oh, yeah. I had, I had some things I needed to take care of family wise, so I couldn't get to it yesterday, but I'm gonna change around. Like once we get a set schedule, and we have like what we're gonna record every Saturday at 7 o'clock. I'll be able to be like, okay, people and stuff will be like, look, to be home by 7. I got to record this, or I could do it wherever I'm at. To be honest with you, I just have to have internet to where it doesn't lag. But other than that, I think we'll be all right. And I know how they just talked about they've done a podcast before. I've never done podcast before, but I did do YouTube, so that's why I'm kind of comfortable with talking in front of a camera because I've done it before. I've done it a lot. Um, so it's nerve wracking for I think for all of us because it's people hearing us and me trying to get what I got to say out correctly without stuttering. But and I know this doesn't help either. The YMCA I'm doing, but yeah, I think it's gonna work. We just gotta stick to it, you know.
Yeah, just got to keep the play alive. It's the name of the game.
Mhm.
The reason we picked out this name is because it's a saying they say in a few different sports, and I think it just fits. I think it just fits with our lives. I think it fits with what we're trying to accomplish, sort of our motive towards this. Keeping the play alive, because when you think of keeping the play alive, you think of like in football, yards after contact. So, for example, when you run into a little bit of resistance in, life and in a particular thing that you're doing, whether it be your work, your hobby, whatever the case may be, when you run into a little bit of resistance, sometimes people just crumble and it's over. But the winners, they try to keep the play alive. Get every little bit of yards you can. Extend the ball, you know, and that's something you can put in your life. Just do the little things that make the thing that you're trying to accomplish come just that little bit easier. Keep the play alive.
Right. You know, this is something I've always wanted to do. I wasn't really sure if it was being a YouTuber or anything like that. I know I've always wanted to have some sort of presence, and I think this podcast helps all of us with that because I think at the end of the day, none of us want to keep to the, 9 to 5 or the basic lifestyle. And not to say that anything's wrong with that, but it's just you want more with your life. And again, I'm not knocking anybody who has to live by those things. We all have to live by these things currently, and it's just something that we want to use as, if it happens, it happens. If not, or if we could just have this as a hobby, we'll have this as a hobby. It makes no difference. It would be nice, but you know, what we really want to do is we really want to just reach out to people who are just like us. Some days we'll be talking about sports and what's going on, or some days we'll be mentioning about what's going on in like viral news, anything like that. Or if, anything with like gaming, because we know there are people out there who are kind of looking for something like this, but they don't really know where to start. Podcasting, when it comes to looking for a podcast to listen to, whether you're working out or working or you're driving, it's very hard because there's a lot of podcasts. And we're going to have to be the ones who were different, but not in a different sort of, like, oh, look at us. We're doing
Yeah.
this thing extra. You know,
You don't just want to be different for the sake of being different.
right,
You want to be unique. You want to have that
Yeah.
niche, that reason that people come back to you.
right,
They say, we offer something that other people don't offer.
right. It's
Got to stay true to who you are as people.
right because there's people out there who are just like us, and they'll see this and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I can kind of dig with these guys." Because in a way, we want to extend our arms out to these people, and we want them to feel like they're having the conversation with us. They're laughing when we're laughing. They're kind of thinking of, or they're talking to themselves while they're listening to this, like they want to put their point in, but that's kind of what we're trying to go for. We're Think of it as like a conversation amongst us, and the
Yeah.
listeners are a part of that conversation.
My favorite podcast that I've ever listened to is the Dope is Yola podcast. If y'all know him, y'all know. Shout out to him. Every guest he has on there, and even when it's just him and Marty, every single podcast is just so down to earth. It's like Kobe described. It's just you're listening to a conversation between buddies, and you're at the other end of the table. And it's a 420 friendly podcast, so a lot of people like to smoke and get high while they watch it. So it's really just like having a sharing a
Oh, and
blunt between boys and that's kind of the vibe that we want to present. Obviously, without the 420 friendly part. I mean, do what you do, but we don't do none of that. But yeah, that's just the vibe we want to present. We want to be welcome. We want to open our doors to you and be like, hey, we all podding this. We all sitting down and chilling. And maybe one day, if we get a nice little following, we could go live on Twitch when we do this podcast and do like Q&As, talk to the fan. We try to be very
yeah.
interactive with this. We want to be very open, you know?
Right. Um.
Side note, if y'all caught, okay.
Oh no, you can go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know if y'all, I don't know if y'all had caught it. The game just ended. I had saw it. The Celtics did win.
Yeah, yeah, I did see
I didn't
that.
know if y'all had caught that.
Um. Yeah. I think we'll get to the game in a little bit, but yeah, I mean, Dallas is down 0-2, man. Um, but we'll get to that in a bit. I do kind of want to transition into sort of we sort of introduced ourselves earlier, but I think it'd be better if we all sort of introduce ourselves into more depth and more detail. Um,
Yeah.
so I'll go ahead and start, and then it'll be Magnus, and it'll be Gavin. So
Oh,
earlier, I said how I was a huge fan of sports, how all that. I do want to sort of talk about how there was a point after the Saints had won the Super Bowl, and I was kind of out of it. Obviously, I'm still growing up. There's different things I'm into. So I wasn't really crazy about sports from like 10 years old to 18, I want to say. But I started to become a fan of sports after COVID. That's sort of like I feel like COVID is whenever everybody started to find like that new thing that they really, really like and that new thing they really grew attached to, which is why I think
Yep.
COVID is a very it's very weird to say. It was a crazy time, but there are some of us, like people who stayed inside or people who couldn't really go out to work, who kind of like found comfort in it in a weird way to say that. Um, which it's pretty crazy, but yeah, I basically I'm a guy who doesn't shut the hell up about sports. Um, I do also want to preference. We're all from South Louisiana. You guys heard Magnus earlier. He said Podna. It's kind of like slang down there. Um, we're all from how we would say we're all
Everybody
from
says
different
partner.
bayou. Yeah, whatever. Okay. We originated it. I don't think that's real, but you know, um,
it's not.
we're all from South Louisiana. We've all been friends since high school. Um, and I think the reason we chose us three, not to have anything against other people who we're friends with, but us three, um, it's something that I feel like uh, we really wanted to take this seriously, and we want. I feel like us three have more of that connection when it comes to like just rambling and talking on and on and on. But yeah. All right, Magnus, you want to go next?
Yeah. Uh, I'll take it from you. So, my name is
Okay.
Magnus.
Right.
Like I said before, I do music. I have a deep, undying passion in my soul for music and just the written word. I'm very poetic, and I don't mean for it to sound like a egotistical type of thing or anything like that. I just think I really do have a way with words that I think if the right opportunities came along, I could change people's lives with the spoken word. And I'm trying to do my thing. We all got that thing that we love. We all got that thing that we wish we could turn into a job one day. And for me, that would be music. And that is just my number one passion in life. I've written music for over 13 years now. I've been writing for as long as I can, remember. And I try to study the greats. I try to listen to some of the best of all time, sort of take wisdom from what they do. And I think that's something that everybody can apply into their life is whatever you're doing, find someone who's better than you. Find someone who is more experienced in your field than you. Find someone who can teach you things that you wouldn't have known otherwise. And don't be afraid to ask questions because I feel like in this society, people are looked down upon for asking questions because, social media motherfuckers just be on there yapping, talking about like, if you ask a question, they'll be like, kind of roasting you because like you don't know it. But people don't just come out the womb with infinite knowledge. You got to ask questions to learn. And yeah, that's just a big thing. But as you can see, this is gonna be my role on this podcast is to fucking ramble on about nonsense. But yeah, That's just what I like to do. I'm like Kobe. I will never shut the hell up about sports. I love sports to the end of me, specifically basketball. Although I'm trying to expand my horizons into different sports, but my main love is always going to be basketball. And
Same here.
yeah,
Same.
I just my biggest loves in life are music, sports, and cooking. I could get into that, but yeah,
It
I don't
seems
think I
we
need
have
to teach
Yeah.
y'all.
a special guest with us. Sorry to cut you off, but
Oh yeah, uh,
Wait, what happened?
we do have a special. Um, that that was beautiful, Magnus. Like that was beautiful, man. I enjoyed
Oh,
that.
thank you.
Learning more about my friend that I know, but I did know. But we'll get to that. So I guess this is the right time to pass the torch, then, correct?
correct.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Go
Go
ahead.
for it. Come on.
So we have
Lobbing it up.
old boy here. Let's just start that off. So I have my
Stan the
name,
man.
my name is
Mascot of
Gaven.
the
I have a
podcast.
dog. His name is Stan. I'll put him down now. But here. So yeah. So that's my first point. I have a dog. That's one thing that keeps me going through life. My boy Stan. He gives me comfort. Um, but a big part of me, like how Magnus said, everyone has something in life that they want to make into a job, or they want to make into a opportunity for themselves to grow and prosper in life. And mine is guitar. Like Kobe mentioned, when COVID hit, a lot of people didn't know what to do. A lot of people was just at home. A lot of people was sick. A lot of people was out of work. A lot of people, they didn't know they was going to because they were staying home, which is crazy to see because you would think, right, if you was able to stay home 24/7, you'd be happy. But COVID showed us that that's not true. So definitely for me, I like to go out sometimes. I like to go to. I enjoy actually going to work sometimes. But if I don't have work no more, that'd be great. But that I love my job. So let's just say. But my job that I want to turn into a job, I guess, like Magnus was saying, is guitar. Something that I know that I'm very passionate about, a lot about. I've been playing for almost 2 years now. No, COVID was a good while back, so it's been
Yeah,
a while.
about
Four
So,
about
years.
4 years. That's crazy, man.
so Lord, yeah, it's time flies. Having fun. But yeah, so this is about to contradict itself. Every time I tell this to somebody, they always like are mind boggling say it. So my favorite genre of music to like play and to listen to and to just vibe out to is classic rock. But my favorite band is Motionless in White. It makes zero sense because this is not classic rock whatsoever. But I mean, you you expand, you listen to new things, whatever, cool. But one day in my life, what I want to do when I get older, I'm very passionate about is I want to open my own music store, mostly because I enjoy music and I enjoy obviously different styles of guitars, and if I can sell those to different people and get those out into people's hands, and they'll be happy, and I get to see all these guitars I would not per se see now, it would make me very happy, and it's just something I want to take seriously in my life. This too, I really want this to work because like we all talk in PlayStation party chats until 4 in the morning about stuff that just pops in our heads that we just have good debates about, which we can get into a crazy debate, but no matter what, after the debate's done, we're laughing and joking like we didn't even have a debate. So that's what I love about these two. Like a lot of people that I do talk to, they don't really understand that aspect of when you're debating, you're not arguing. It's a debate. And me and Kobe's had many. Me and Magnus has had many. So that's what they were also mentioning earlier about how us three have a different connection. And what they mean by that different connection is that we can talk to each other without being upset with each other. And we can bring good points up that may change my mind or may change Kobe's or Magnus' mind. And if you can do that, I feel like that's a very powerful thing in a friendship is if you can bring up points that someone else just didn't see, or they may be like, well, I didn't think about it that way. And that's why this came to be. This podcast came to be because of that reason. So I don't want to go on too crazy. I know we got things to talk about, and I don't want to go too in depth because I could talk for hours about this, like them two also can.
Yep.
But that's just my big thing is my dog and my guitar, and like if I'll mention my favorite sport since both of them, I'm into sports too. I'm not deeply into sports like they are, but that's gonna change because I'm gonna talk with them more. I'm gonna understand different sports more. But my favorite sport as of right now is baseball. I've played baseball when I was younger. I've always watched baseball throughout. I'm more of a college kind of guy, but I'll watch NBA. My favorite team's the Diamondbacks. I fell kind of out of love with football, mostly because of it's in a weird spot right now. Um, it's kind of hard to tell rigged or not. But that's gonna be another like another question to talk about a whole different podcast. I'm not even bringing that up. But yeah, I'm gonna end it there. I'm gonna let y'all two go. Whoever. Well, I think I was the last one to introduce myself. So, um, whenever y'all ready,
Yeah.
I want
So,
to start off with.
like I mentioned earlier, um, the Dallas Mavericks lost 98 to 105 to the Boston Celtics. It's the NBA Finals. It's the playoffs are nearing a close, and I'm very saddened by it. Basketball is my favorite sport, but let's go ahead and get into the finals, guys. So today, um, it was a very weird game. I I'm not gonna sit here and say that I watched the entire game, but it was definitely a weird game. Um, Drew Holiday being the leading scorer would have while having double-digit rebounds. For the people at home, Drew Holiday in 40 minutes. Sorry, 26 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block on 78.6% field goal percentage. Wow. Uh, Followed by him, Jason Tatum, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 12 assists, 1 steal, almost a triple double. Uh, but the big story I think from this game is Tatum's shooting. He shot 27%, 6 for 22. Sorry about that. We had a little technical issue. Speaking of which, I think instead of Discord, maybe next week we're gonna try to do Zoom or something like that, just to see. It's probably better for our podcast anyway. But we were just kind of, running with applications and stuff on the fly. This is our first day doing it, so it'll improve. But like I was
We're just
saying,
trying to keep the play alive.
yep, keep the play alive.
Well, I definitely bricked that shot, didn't I?
Bro got stuffed at the one.
Oh,
Yeah. Like Porzingis did. When I tuned in earlier, Porzingis blocked somebody, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
yeah, Porzingis had 2 blocks. I think you know, we'll get into the rest of the game in a second. Um, but I do want to say Tatum's shooting this game has it's not good. 6 for 22 is not good. From your best player. I know Jason Kidd said that he thinks Jalen Brown is the best player, but let's be real. Jason Tatum is the best player on the Celtics. Uh, and
22 shots though is crazy. He's
yeah,
done.
6 for 22 is not good. Tatum's had
Yeah, he
these
got in his head.
moments.
He got
Tatum,
in
Yeah.
his head.
I love Jason Tatum. I'm not gonna say I love him because he's not one of my favorite players, but I do like Jason Tatum. However, I mean, when you watch him, like I saw it play earlier. I think it was in the second. He just barreled towards the basket and he got an easy reverse layup. And it's like Tatum, you could do this all the time. For 6'10", 200 something pounds, you are huge. You can drive to the basket with ease. But it seems he just settles for these jumpers and these high difficulty shots. It's just no. What do you get out of this? You can play an efficient way, and you can play a way that helps your team. Obviously, like even if he's shooting bad, his team's gonna win because that's just how the Celtics are constructed.
Yeah.
I mean, he went. He shot 5 for 6 from free throw. So I mean, he was, but out of those 22 shots, like you said, that he does better when he like. And disclaimer: whatever I say, it may be off the wall. I don't really watch NBA like that. I'm just getting into it. But what I was going to say was, you said that he's a better player driving to the basket, but instead he took 7 3-pointers tonight and only made one. Is
Yeah,
that something that maybe he should not be doing, or?
I think so.
That's just the way Boston's play style is. Boston lives and dies by the three. And I do believe they're going to win this finals. And I mean, I've thought that from the very beginning, you know, whatever. But that's just the way Boston plays. They live and they die by the three. You know, if the shots are falling, they're the best team in the league. If the shots aren't falling, it's not pretty. But that's just how they play. And yeah, I agree with everything Kobe said. Tatum, he tries to emulate Kobe Bryant. He that it's a known fact at this point. But you're not Kobe. You will never be Kobe. And it's no disrespect to Tatum. It's just you will never be that style of player. Like you said, he's a 6'10", 230 something pound power forward. He needs to be making that interior presence known. It's like it's so simple. You if you can establish an interior presence early in the game, you open your game up to go in any direction you want it to go. You can either
Right.
continue to attack the basket and they'll be forced to foul, or double team and you'll be able to kick it out to an open shooter, or you can open up your game to go mid range, 3-pointer. You have infinite options at that point. But if you're a guy like Tatum who has that size, that athleticism, and that capability, there's no reason you shouldn't be establishing an interior presence as the main priority in every single basketball game.
Right.
And it sucks that you see a guy like him and he has potential to be the best player in the league and he's just not.
I mean, out of anybody, I think like anybody's like body and physicality, like in the physicals, I would want Tatum. It would be Giannis and then Tatum. But
Yeah,
continuing on with the game, the Celtics, you just watch them and their ball movement is really good. I feel like we talk about Denver's ball movement as like, oh, it's all this, all the. Boston has great ball movement, and they're always going to find the open guy. They're they shot 43s tonight, and it's just man, they are going to live and die by the three, like you said. But it's just when you have the team who takes the most threes and makes the most threes, that's why you see some of the different numbers that they're putting up. They have one of the best net ratings ever, and it's just because the way they played the basketball. Um, I do want to get into Luca's game. Luca had a great game, man, and it's really sad to see that he's got Gafford, Washington, Kyrie, and Derrick Jones Jr. These guys have double digit points, but it's some of them are just making bad decisions. They're not shooting the ball well. They're not Kyrie Kyrie scoring this low in game 1 and 2 is kind of concerning. You need that 1-2 punch, especially with a team like Dallas who revolves around their two guys and their role players.
that
I know,
heliocentric offense.
I know, like I was saying a lot about Jason and Jalen. I hate to go back to the Celtics, but because I'm looking at the box score right now, um, Drew Holiday had a great game. He went 11 for 14, 2 for 4 for 3, and he had 11 rebounds
Yeah,
with 3 assists.
Yeah,
He
he
had
won
26.
them that game.
He
he
definitely,
did.
definitely did. Yeah,
Uh,
from what I he definitely did.
and it's crazy because Drew is like 6'3", 6'2", and he getting 11 boards is pretty impressive. But I also think that's a big fault on Dallas. Um,
Yeah, for letting him get that.
Dallas, I mean, Boston only won the offensive rebound by like one offensive rebound, but still, like there was points where I was like, "Come on, guys, you can get that. Why are you like Drew Holiday is just right there, and he's just like shimmying his way to getting the ball. It's like, guys, get the rebound, get the offensive rebound.
Drew's just a winning type of player, plain and simple.
Right.
He's the guy that any championship contender in the world would want on their team. He just does everything that you want him to do. He can plug himself into any situation and get results. He can get you a bucket at the rim. He can get you a three. He can play hard-nosed defense on the best guards in the entire league. He can guard pretty much 1 through 4. He can do everything that you could ever possibly want him to do, and he wins games for teams that win championships. Like his steal in Game 6 with Milwaukee. The lob to Giannis.
Oh,
Man, I love that.
That was such a great play.
That is the epitome of good basketball. That is the epitome of everything that you design a basketball team to do, especially a Mike Budenholzer team. Turning defense into offense.
Right. Now, I do want to preference this, and I'm glad you brought up Milwaukee, Phoenix, that finals, because Milwaukee was down 0-2 as well. Guys, do we think the Mavericks have a chance of coming back?
Personally, I'm going to say no. And here's my reason why. Dallas is a great ball club. They're terrific. Luka is one of, if not the best player in the league. Kyrie is probably right now the best second option in the league. And they have terrific role players. The only problem is you can't even say the role players need to step up, because if we look at the box score, 5 players had double digits. And I mean, yes, Derek Lively had a pretty bad game, all things considered. Josh Green didn't have a great game. Maxi Kleber did cardio. But even if all of the role players play a very solid game, Boston just has too much depth, too much talent. They swing the ball around the court too well. They're too dominant. And Porzingis, in my opinion, is the real X factor of this series, because if you don't have Porzingis, the inside is wide open. Like, Al Horford is, a great defender. He's somebody that for a long time has been just a very solid defender and a winning player, a veteran. Once again, somebody that you want on your team. But he's not stopping Luka going to the rim. He's not stopping the young legs of Derek Lively and PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Derek Jones Jr. She's not going to stop all of those guys. But Boston just has too much depth. You got Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, Al Horford. All of these guys can start, but there's not room for all of them to start.
Right.
But yeah, just Dallas, they're a good ball club, but they would have to play absolutely perfect basketball for the next 4 games in order to come out with a win. And that's not to say that they won't get a win. They're going to get at least one at home.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not winning the series, in my opinion.
So Boston shot 10 for 39, and Dallas shot 6 for 26. It's just, when the shot's not falling for the team that's taking less threes, and the shot's not falling for the team that's taking more threes, but the team that took more threes still has more makes, it's really tough to come back. Boston has a 5-out offense, and, everybody on there can shoot. They could hit a 3. Drew Holiday, he's not the best 3-point shooter, but he could still hit a 3. As much as I like Dallas, Luka is my personal favorite player. As much as I want them to win, before I even saw, I knew that Boston. Well, I'm not gonna say I knew. I'm just gonna say I predicted Boston to win. Yeah, I predicted Boston to win this series, and I'm not gonna say Dallas can't come back, but it's gonna be really tough for them to come back.
Yeah, like I said, everybody would have to play a perfect game, and Boston would have to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, originally I had Boston in 6, because Boston, throughout this playoff series, has always, whether it's against, you know, Cleveland, whether it's against, who did they play in the first round? I'm blanking out on it.
Um, who did they play? Was
Miami,
it Philly?
Miami.
Oh no, Miami.
That game 2 where Tyler Hero was just on fire, and they could have blown some of those games against Indiana, but Boston just has those 1 or 2 games where they're just so. It's just like, what are you doing? But unfortunately, I still think Celtics are going to win, and that's not taking away anything against the Celtics. I don't dislike the Celtics. I don't dislike their players. I mean, personally, for me, it's just I don't like their fans. But Boston fans,
Do you?
close your ears.
Well,
Hmm.
dude, that I did see something about Luca being hurt. Is that a thing? Um,
He's been hurt for majority of the playoffs, which is making this run really, really, um, incredible. Luka's been hurt for a while. I think since the
Yeah, he's
Clippers,
been
he
hurt
was.
since the regular season.
Yeah.
I'm seeing, because I pulled up because I was curious why y'all was talking. I was curious with these two teams in the finals, what are they losing this year? I'm seeing Celtics the last year on Derek White's contract. I'm seeing on Dallas' side, it's the last year of Tim Hardaway Jr.'s contract. So what's your opinions on that?
Um. Well, I think Boston is going to do whatever they can to re-sign Derek White. I think Derek White's going to want to go back to Boston. Derek White is just a Boston guy. He's gonna play for them. Um. And Tim Hardaway, Magnus, you want to take that one because I think we both have the same opinion on that.
Yeah, Tim Hardaway is like he got a DMP this game. He's just not a very good player, and it's unfortunate, but
And he's at
he's
30.
kind of he's kind of just a waste of money. He's one of those guys that you could probably plug him in on a young team and let him be kind of a veteran mentor because at this point he's been in the league 11 years. He's going to have some good stuff, some advice to give to some young guys. So like throw him in Detroit, give him a little veterans fucking like mid-level exception or whatever and just let him teach the young guys a thing or two.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I think the play style of Hardaway Jr. is it's not very conducive with winning, and that's not to say he's not a good player. It's just there's so many games where it's like Mavs fans make these memes all the time. Uh, Tim Hardaway Jr. have a 30-point game. He'll shoot the three ball like 15 times and he'll make like 8 of them. And then there's games where he's like 1 for 18 and it's like quit
he's just
shooting the damn
extremely
ball.
inconsistent.
That's the thing. He's a microwave. He thrives on the sixth man role, but I don't think him being a sixth man is what Dallas needs. I think Dallas
Yeah.
does need another scorer. Um, I'm not sure who they would be able to get this offseason or if they should get anything this offseason. I think the role players are fine, but they definitely need. I think they either need a third star or they need a good sixth man who's maybe more consistent than Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah. I think they need a guy similar to Drew Holiday in the sense that, like I said, you can plug him into any situation and he'll get you results. And I do believe that needs to come from the wing position because, PJ Washington, Derek Jones is good, but you can improve. You
Right.
have room to improve there. I think your big man situation is fine, although maybe a better backup center would be something that you look into, depending on how they do the thing with Gafford and Lively. But yeah, to kind of get to a point that I wanted to talk about earlier, but didn't want to cut anybody off. Another thing, like when Kobe was going over the 3-pointers made and just the shooting, I'm looking here, the free throws. So the final score was 98 to 105. So that's what, 7? That's a 7-point game. Okay, so Boston shot less free throws and made more. Dallas.
Right.
Dallas went 16 for 24 from the free throw line. That's 8 points that you left on the free throw line. That wins you the ball game.
Oh, for sure.
Boston went 19 for 20 from the free throw line. So that's another thing that winning teams do. And it seems like such a simple thing, but sometimes in these close games, the humanity comes out of people because at the end of the day, people might kind of forget this, but ball players are human beings too. They're not just machines of production made for your entertainment. They're human beings just like you. And they will have moments where they feel the pressure of an opposing crowd on them. And I think Dallas kind of felt that tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Um, with the free throws, as much as I like Luca, as much as he's my favorite player, Luca just sucks at shooting free throws. He just he's for his career in the NBA, he's just not been a good free throw shooter. He's
He needs
improved
to
on
get up with
defense.
Jeremy Sohan, get him to do that one hand free
Oh
throw.
yeah, oh god. But I think bad free throw shooting.
The guy from 2K.
Nah, dead ass though, because Jeremy Sohan improved like drastically on his free throw numbers. And Luca does have that soft touch.
He
He's
does.
a big dude. Low
He did
key,
shoot
it
50%
might
tonight.
help. It dead ass might help. I mean, it's funny, but
What were you saying, Gavin?
So he shot 50% tonight.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's really bad. It's like LeBron. It's the sort of the same criticisms LeBron has had. LeBron's also not a good free throw shooter. Um, I'm not gonna say that diminishes LeBron from any sort of conversation. We're not gonna get into that today. Um,
yeah,
but
I'll have no opinion on that.
yeah, that's completely fine. But yeah, I'm not gonna say that in order to be a great player, you need to be a good free throw shooter. LeBron is a great player. He's not a good free throw shooter. Luca, it's really a weird thing. I guess the only explanation you could really chalk it up to is Luca is a self-creator. Luca is a way better shooter when he's creating for himself than when he's spotting up. So
yeah,
I
off
could
the
see
dribble.
that as to maybe why he's not a good free throw shooter. But also, Luca is probably a top three, top two player in the league. Free throw shooting, you kind of got to hit those, Luca. 50% from the free throw line is not a good look, and that
Yeah,
really hurts your team. But you know,
You know what's
um,
crazy to me though? It's crazy that Luca can drop 30 in game one and they still lose. Like, you mean to tell me nobody else on that team could help that man out at all?
well,
yeah, and he dropped 32-point triple double with 4 steals tonight, and they still lost.
that's a
So
perfect
he has a
transition.
real chance to win Finals MVP on the losing team.
Yeah, it's like I was gonna say, that's a perfect transition to what I wanted to actually get into next. Kyrie Irving. I kind of mentioned it earlier. Uh, Kyrie has not been good this series so far, and it's weird because in the OKC series he only averaged like 16 points, but it felt like he was doing more that series. When I watch what Kyrie's doing this series, it's just again, you have a 1-2 punch. Kyrie cannot shoot. Kyrie cannot average less than 20 points for this series. If the Mavs want to win this, Kyrie needs to step up. I'm not sure
Yeah,
why. I think it might be because, you know, you have Derek White, you have Drew Holiday. They're really good defensive players, and then Kyrie's been good defensively this season, but well, I should say this season, this postseason. But Kyrie has to find a ways. He has to find a rhythm. If the Mavs want to win, he needs to start shooting better. Uh, he
yeah. I
shot.
was watching this game. He went 7 for 18, but honestly, this particular game was one of those games where the shots that normally fall for him just weren't really falling.
Uh,
He was getting in the post. He was getting his normal,
mhm.
fadeaway shots, and they were just rimming out. Just it wasn't going his way,
Oh
and that
yeah,
happens sometimes.
yeah. There
The
was
bad
this
night.
one play. Oh, sorry. You can go ahead.
No, I was just saying it was just a bad night.
Yeah. I saw this one play earlier. It was he had Derek White on him. It was either Derek White or Peyton Pritchard. Uh, white guys. Well, I think Derek White Smith. All right, whatever. Um,
Yeah,
and he had him in as a post fade, and I thought it was gonna go in, and it didn't. And I'm like, okay, so that's what's happening tonight. Kyrie. That's usually money for Kyrie, but that it didn't go in, and I think maybe in Dallas, they're gonna hit their strides more. They're gonna start shooting better. I believe this is the first time in the series the Mavericks have lost two in a row. So that's either a good thing. Well, it's not a good thing, but it's either a sign that this is kind of over, or who knows? They could potentially come back. That's kind of what I kind of want to transition to next is what do the Mavs need in order to come back in this series?
Before we get into that, let me ask a question. Do you think that if it's kind of the same, if Mavs do win Game 3, do you think that stops Boston's momentum? Because I know the momentum is definitely on their side. Like the way it looks to me, it looks like they're on pace to sweep Dallas. Like that's what I'm getting from this. Because it's like y'all was saying, Kyrie hasn't been performing. So if you got Luka putting up 32 points per game and still losing, if you don't have that extra guy there to put up the 20 to back him up when he's not on the court, do you really think they even have a chance at all winning a game this series?
Um, I think they do. Dallas is just gonna have one of those games where PJ Washington's just not gonna miss a corner three in the fourth quarter. Kyrie's gonna hit his shots. Derrick Jones Jr. is probably gonna drop 20. Luka's gonna be, on demon time. But to answer your question, if Dallas wins in Dallas for game three, does this stop Boston's momentum? I don't think it does. The thing is, Boston doesn't really play off momentum. Boston plays with, we're gonna shoot. That's our game plan. If you don't like it, cry about it. That's what Joe
yeah.
Mazzulla wants. He wants them to shoot the three. Shoot the three, shoot the three, shoot the three. Take the most threes, make the most threes. That's the plan.
Boston's been in the playoffs pretty much every year of Tatum and Brown's career, and this is like basically this year has been their magnum opus. They won how many games? Like 65, something like that. They won just a bunch of games. They were by far the best team in the league record wise. And like I said, they've been in the playoffs every year. They've gathered so much experience. They've learned what what's right and what's wrong. And so yeah, to go off of Kobe's point, I don't think they play much off of momentum. They're just a way more experienced team, and they just have that as a big edge, and that sometimes it seems like that shouldn't matter as much as it does, but when you're in the playoffs, especially in the championship, experience matters more than anything. And Golden State proved that to Boston just a couple years ago. So
hmm Um, Now, what the Mavs would need to actually come back this series, I think Magnus, you kind of said it perfectly, but I think we should elaborate it. They obviously need to play perfect, but we need Kyrie Irving to step it up offensively. His shots need to go in. If
yeah, he needs to hit the shots.
if
He needs
Dallas,
to open up the game because right now it's just Luke out there.
Mhm.
And yeah, he does play that heliocentric, ball dominant, ISO heavy type of ball, and that does kind of shoot Dallas in the leg in certain situations. But yeah, like you said, the shots need to fall for Kyrie to get pressure off of Luca, off
Right.
of the other guys.
like that's the thing. Luca is very heliocentric. That's what Dallas's offense is. But the addition of Kyrie Irving and his creator, the way he is as a ball creator, he opens the game up, like you said. When it's Luca and Kyrie, you have two guys who are really good. It's not just a big and a guard. The guard is always the creator. It's these two guys. They're both creators. That's what expands this. That's why they're in the position that they're in. Because Luca and Kyrie are so gifted offensively. But if you have one guy kind of just taking the shots and you have the other guy and his shots are not going in, it's really going to be tough for Dallas to come back.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, um, for me, what I'm seeing, but as a not to say non NBA fan, I'm kind of getting into it. Just kind of like a newer
Casual.
person. Yeah, kind of like casual.
Casual perspective.
So what I'm seeing, I think the series is gonna end probably 4-1. I'll give Dallas, like y'all said, PJ won't miss. I'll give him one game. That's what I'm predicting here. I'm
Yeah,
predicting
that's about
four
what I
one.
think too.
That's what I think is gonna end up happening. Luca, he's gonna continue to do good. Kyrie, no telling. But that's what I predict myself, and we can touch on this at the end of the series. But y'all can call me whatever. But what I'm predicting right now is 4-1, and like Mag said, Mag agrees. That's what he thinks. But from looking at the stats myself before we've talked about this and everything, um, I almost am on the fence of a sweep, but I don't want to say a sweep because of how y'all say how gifted Luca and Kyrie both are, and PJ Washington on the team, because they could have a good game and explode and blow out um the Celtics. But who knows? They might even say win 2 games. I don't think they're going to completely win out because of how hot Boston is at the moment. Um, how good they're playing right now. And granted, the game was close. It wasn't a blowout. Like what was it? Like 10 points.
It was a blowout
Yeah.
in the first game. They had won by 18, which is top three and the most points won in a final series. But this game, you're right. It wasn't a blowout. It was 8-7.
Yeah, it was a back and forth battle.
It was a back and forth battle for most of this game, but it got to the third quarter, which is like third quarter, more towards the start of the fourth, where Dallas had it and then they let it go. That's kind of what the problem is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they was playing from behind. They was playing catch up too much. Their whole entire effort was going into tying the game, getting up by one. Meanwhile, Boston's whole effort was like, "Hey, we up by 10. We chilling."
Well, folks, that was the finals. Again, next week we will cover more of the finals, whether it's the end of the series or whether, who knows if it's gonna be game six or game seven. Um, I do want to transition into another topic. Um, so for our gamers out there, Black Ops 6 is coming out. Now, Call of Duty has been in a really weird spot these past few years. Um, but
You just call it like it is, Call of Duty's ass.
yeah,
Yeah.
Call of Duty's been not very good these past couple of years. Um, but I I assume we all saw the trailers and the sort of gameplay that they're coming out with for Black Ops 6. Um, so there's a new movement that's coming out with it. Um,
It's gonna be exploited in the first week. I hate it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not even gonna lie because we already dealing with like hate to bring up another game while we're talking about this, but we're already dealing with it in X Defiant. And if you could dive backwards around a corner and still
Mm-hmm.
aim it, That's gonna be ridiculous, man. Like I'm telling
On
you,
that Max Payne shit.
I'm on the verge of probably not even buying BO6 because I don't want to put my mental through that. Um, but yeah, the movement. I'm sorry to kind of like cut you off, but that's just straight emotion, raw. How I feel about that. It's horrible. I
Oh
don't
no,
like
that's
it.
fine. Uh,
I hate.
I do. I'm not gonna sit here and completely shit on it. I do like the idea of the movement, but I think they're doing too much. Uh, we want to play Call of Duty casually. Ever since 2019, since Modern Warfare 2019 came out, um, there's just been this shift in first-person shooter games where it's so sweaty. It's
Yeah.
wannabe Twitch streamers who feel like, oh, I gotta have 40 kills and 5 deaths, and I have to exploit every single sort of movement. And it's like, can we just play the game? Can we
Yeah,
just play the game?
there's no way to filter out just the casual gamer anymore.
Right.
And that is the biggest problem with games nowadays, especially those competitive online multiplayer games, which is why I don't play a whole lot of those games. It's way too sweaty. It's people who either don't have jobs, don't have lives, just sit there and play the game all day. Like you said, want to be Twitch streamers. I can go on about this for a while, but I ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole. But the main important thing is I love the idea of having fully free movement. I think that is an amazing idea, but I think it's about 15 years too late.
Yeah.
If this would have came out back in like MW2 instead of us being all stiff, and maybe it was console limitations, whatever, but regardless, this all came out just way too late for specifically me because I'm trash at video games these days. Just that simple. I'm not nearly what I used to be. But yeah, I can't keep up with all these, sweats running around going crazy.
Right.
And that's just the thing. They don't have a way to filter out between the sweats and the casuals. And a lot of people blame it on skill-based matchmaking. But once again, we see it in X Defiant. Skill-based matchmaking don't have a whole lot to do with it because it has no skill-based matchmaking, and we're still getting shit on by sweats.
I
It's
think,
just a thing of everybody's a sweat these days.
yeah, yeah. I think that's just kind of why I've been so down on Call of Duty. It's it's really hard after working a shift or waking up and going play a game, wanting to play the game casually, and then you have everybody in the lobby just fucking attacking you, and it's like, oh hey, look, I get shot from behind, around the fucking corner, in my ass. It's like, can we please
Mhm.
play the game? Like, oh, like people play Call of Duty now like it's their job, like their life
Mhm.
depends on it, and that's really why it's just so hard to get into Call of Duty nowadays. 10 years ago, when I was playing Advanced Warfare, whenever Advanced Warfare, I think it might have been 10 years ago,
Yep.
it,
Exactly 10 years.
it was so much more fun, even though like people were shitting
Underrated.
on the game. It was still more fun because not everybody was playing the game like their lives depended on it. And I think
Yeah,
that,
you're gonna have games where you're gonna get shit on, but you also gonna have games doing the shitting.
yeah, I mean, and it's just feels like you have games where you're really doing good once out of every 10 games. And for anybody saying, "Oh, well, just play better, just actually play better." I don't want to. I want to sit down and I want to play the game casually. I don't want to sit here and fucking have veins popping out of my neck and shit. Like, oh, come on, come on. And it's like,
Roid rage.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
and just
we're just
another
playing a
thing,
game.
not to cut anybody off, but I just wanted to get this thought out because I thought of it, and I know if I don't say it now, I'm gonna forget it.
Yeah, I got one
You
too.
have to, you have to adapt your like. You can't play the way you want to play, and that goes for Call of Duty, that goes for 2K, that goes for Madden, goes for any competitive online game. You have to play by the meta. You have to play by the animations that work. You have to play with the guns that are the best. You can't play the way you want to play. Like if I want to sit back and play pistols only, throwing knives only, I'm gonna go 6-30. Like I'm not gonna have a good time, and it's all because everybody wants to be so good, so bad that you have to play with the best, meta builds on 2K. You have to sit there on YouTube for an hour trying to figure out what animations to put on. Like we're playing Mortal Kombat or something and just spam animations all day. And that is the type of stuff that has ruined modern gaming. Is these companies like don't actually put time and effort into their games to make it to where every type of gamer can have fun. It's all for the sweats, all for the people that's filling their pockets with money because they're buying skins, they're buying supply drops, they're buying all the pay to win stuff, etc., etc. And that's just the downfall of gaming, is because it's not about passion anymore. It's all about money.
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. But I want to kind of go back to a point where we were talking about like the exploits and stuff. So how I look at it, me as a gamer myself, like I'm not huge into it. I casually play things. It's not like I'm trying to make money off of it or anything. But my outlook on it is if it's in the game and it's meant to be used like that, I don't care. So let's talk about X Defiant for a second to kind of compare because we don't have BO6 yet, so I can't really compare that or talk about that. So the bunny hopping mechanic or whatever. When the devs say that they're going to nerf that, meaning that they didn't put that in the game to be used like that. They put it in, maybe they didn't even know it was in the game because you can't really fix everything on launch. You have to let it launch, you have to let people play, you have to let people get upset, you have to let people complain. And that's when you're going to fix what you need to fix. So, in a sense, the way I'm looking at it is if it's in the game and it's meant to be used and just people are just really, really good at it, cool, whatever. I won't be mad that it happened to me and I died by it. Oh well. But when it's being overly used or literally it gives the casual, as we would call ourselves, player a chance, I feel like that's in a sense where I would start getting annoyed, like spawn trapping. What I do love about X Defiant, which not a lot of people do like, is the fact that you spawn behind a barrier. So you spawn behind a barrier to where you, in a sense, can't get spawn trapped. So if you run out of your spawn and you're not looking, that's your fault. That's nobody else's fault besides you. And that's how I kind of look at it. But that's like Magnus had brought up. You have to adapt. And like he did bring up like Madden. You look at these Madden tournaments, these Madden like where you making money and stuff like that. They running a certain playbook. They
They
running certain
all run the
plays.
same playbooks. Yes.
Exactly. So it's not no different much of COD, MLB, X Defiant, any other game you play. Nothing's different. There's a certain meta. You use the meta, you win. You have a blast. You
Right.
don't use the meta, and you try to go off the meta. Some people are just really, really good at gaming. Like look at Ronnie. Ronnie is literally for some odd reason good at everything he plays, no matter what he does. And there's just some people that is just gifted like that, that they can just be good at whatever they do. And that's why I feel like I do complain, I do get upset, but then sometimes I just kind of sit there. Like if somebody's genuinely better than me, cool, you better than me.
Right.
You know, I don't
Mhm.
have enough time to sit down and play the game. So like if I'm playing, in my instance, the game that I love playing is MLB. If I'm sitting there and playing MLB and I get blown out 13-1, he's just better than me. Like there's nothing I can do about it. Same thing with X Defiant. Same thing with COD. Going, straying back onto the COD thing and away from all that. If I'm playing COD and there's a guy on the other team and his aim is just really really good. Cool, good for you. You sat at home and you trained your aim and you did what you had to do. That's cool. That's your passion. Whatever. I won't knock you for it. But if you're gonna sit there, you're gonna keep killing me over and over and over, and then you're gonna start sending me messages. You're gonna start being toxic. You're gonna start, saying just get better at the game, something like that. Not everybody wants to be as good as you are. We just want to play the game with our friends, have a good time, and that's that. I mean, we all grew up playing games, and we just want to have fun, and that's why, like to go back what Magnus said, we don't really play online games like that. We play more single player or more stuff that we can just do just us because These online games are really getting out of hand, especially with the new generation that's growing up right now. They're growing up with the iPads, the iPhones, the PlayStation. So they're learning stuff more than what they have more than what we had. Just gonna
Hmm.
sort of say because we was playing on PS2. Any of this stuff was not happening on PS2. So it's kind of like you got PS5s, PS6s that are talked about, and you got these kids growing up playing Fortnite, Apex, all this stuff, and you got look how good these kids are at games. Like it's ridiculous. Not saying I'm jealous, but like it kind of I look at it like why can't I be that good? A
Yeah,
little
it's
a
because they
6-year-old
learn
kid.
these sweaty game mechanics. It's like you said, perfect. We played on more limited consoles, PS2, PS3, Xbox 360, whatever. These older generation games had limited mobility. So it was more skill based in that way because you were so limited in what you had the ability to do that you had to be better than the other person to kill them. But yeah, um, these kids are just learning these sweaty game mechanics at such a young age because, like you said, they get the iPads, they get the iPhones, they get the internet from the moment they spawn in. You know, like
Yeah,
they they got it all, and they can learn how to be a sweat by the time they're 9, and they know that from such a young age that it's like developed in their mind, and they ain't never gonna forget it.
exactly, and that is kind of like in a sense like we don't have a lot of time to play those games, which I'm not mad. I'm glad. I'd rather those kids that are sweats be playing the game than out doing things that they
Yeah,
shouldn't be doing or but whatever. And I totally understand it. And that like what I'm saying, I'm not trying to complain. I'm not because I'm gonna play games no matter if I get crapped on or I do really really good. I'm going to still play because that's what I enjoy doing.
Right.
But in another sense, it's kind of like, what can we do? And I actually was thinking about this while you started talking, Magnus. Um, Back then, like we said, we had the PS2, PS3s. We didn't have the hackers that we do now that we did back then. Like people, we have the internet, so people are finding ways to hack into games, hack them, make it not fun for everybody else. Like if you were just genuinely better than me, cool. But if you gotta do good in a game by hacking, you have an issue. Like I know somebody, they said that a, um, they wanted to get a like a hard drive that'll give them aimbot, and I'm like, why? Like just play the game correctly. Why would you get aimbot when you could just, you know, play the game how it's supposed to be played? Am I wrong?
No, not at all. Um, like we knew hackers were a thing back in the day, but they were so rare. They were so rare. Nowadays, if I just hop on Rust, um, you know, it's so easy to find a hacker on Rust.
Yeah.
It's it, hacking has become so easy to do, and it's just so much. It, sorry, we're having a little bit of a thing right now, and I'm trying to just talk and do something else at the same time. But
Well, I can't.
hacking is really just it's so much more accessible to people, and we really can't do anything about it. Like easy anti cheat is the most useless thing ever. If you know, you know. Like, but gamers nowadays, it's very difficult to just play a game and enjoy it nowadays. I find like obviously you have your single player games, fine, that's cool. I prefer single player games, but there's also times where I just want to play multiplayer games with my friends. But I think one of the biggest things y'all said is the meta. The fact that the meta, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like the meta hasn't been a thing forever, because in Advanced Warfare, it was the BAL and it was the ASM-1, if you guys remember. The Speakeasy
Yeah.
and the Obsidian Steed. And that was the meta. That was the meta. And that's kind of why people were sour on Advanced Warfare, is because those two guns dominated every single gun.
I was able to use a different gun and still be able to get kills, and
Yeah,
it
for
wasn't like
sure.
I had to use those guns to at least do good in the lobby. Like,
Right.
but that's how like gaming has changed throughout the span of, I would even say, 5 years. I wouldn't even go back to like 10, 15 years. Like the span of, because if you really look at how realistic games are getting now, it's ridiculous. Like if I like to kind of go back, because when I was watching the trailer on COD, it looks like it's starting to get more and more realistic. And here's the thing: if I want to play a realistic shooter, I'm gonna go play Rainbow. I'm sorry. I'm
Hmm.
gonna go play Rainbow if I want to play realistic. I don't want to get
Or
shot through
Battlefield.
walls. I don't want to get freaking one tapped in the head. I'm gonna go play Rainbow if I want that. COD has always been different, and that's why we liked COD. COD was the biggest franchise in shooters ever, and that's what I'm saying with the hyper realism that they're going with. I just don't. I just really, me personally, I don't like it. And the same thing goes with Warzone. You know, I hate Warzone. Like, I really don't like the
Me
idea of
too.
Warzone. Leave the battle royale to Fortnite and Apex. Leave it to them. Stay in your own lane. Do your multiplayer. Do your zombies. Everybody's gonna buy your game. When you have the zombies like how you had way back in the day to give everybody nostalgia, we're going to buy your game and play it. No matter how bad it is, if you have it like it was back in the day, we're gonna play it. Like the menus are going crazy. Like it's way too complex now.
Yeah. Modern Warfare 2019 really went crazy. I think that's really the downfall of COD as we knew it,
Hmm.
with the attachments and all of that. It's just really hard to get into that game. I didn't really play it a lot. I played it whenever it came out, but I was just like, I hate this game. I'm not playing it. But
And I think another thing that like it kind of messes with us in particular, our age group. We're so used to playing those games from back in the day that were catered to us. But these
Yeah.
games aren't catered to us anymore. These games are catered to the new age kids. The new age kids love Call of Duty nowadays. They love the Fortnite and shit. And that does create a bit of a sort of thing for us where we feel like the game is so flawed, but they love it. They think it couldn't be better. They think that, the new games are better than like Black Ops 2. You know what I mean? Like they it's just at the end of the day, it's Activision.
mhm.
Activision is a greedy, blood sucking corporation, and we could go into this. We're not gonna go into this, but we could.
We
Oh
will
yeah.
eventually.
Activision is a greedy, blood sucking corporation, and their only goal is profit. They
Yep.
ruin Destiny, they ruin Call of Duty, they ruin everything they touch. But they don't ruin it for them because they make record profits every time.
Yeah. Like,
And that's the whole thing. They only care about money. They do not have passion for making good quality video games. They only care about money.
when Gavin was talking about how you know, he wants him to leave the battle royales to Apex and Fortnite, I agree. But what Matt to kind of combine what you two just said, at the end of the day, they knew that they could make money off of a
Yeah.
battle royale.
It's the whole point of Warzone is because they like, oh shit, Fortnite's taking some of our customers. Make a Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty
They
much.
tried it with Blackout, but they realized how terrible it was, and they were
It's
like,
so
"Okay,
bad.
we're gonna use a new engine, and we're gonna make this engine better, more geared towards this battle royale." If you notice, the engine that the older Call of Duties had was really more for like the actual multiplayer games. And then Modern Warfare 2019, their new engine, they added a new game mode where they tried to recreate Conquest, but obviously it was geared towards Warzone. That's the problem I have with Call of Duty nowadays. The game is geared towards Warzone.
Well, like in a sense, I'm gonna ask this question, right? So if y'all thinking, okay, like y'all wake up in the morning on a Saturday and y'all like, you know what? I feel like playing a battle royale. What are y'all picking up to play? Y'all playing
Apex.
Warzone or y'all playing Fortnite and Apex? That's what
Yeah,
that's how I'm
I'm
seeing
personally
it. It's
picking
like
Fortnite.
I'm not gonna, because also if you think about it, Call of Duty's freaking gigabytes in storage is
Oh
ridiculous. Like
yeah,
I can download Fortnite and still have 10 other games on my console. If I have Call of Duty, I can barely have like three.
right.
And
And
that's
That's another thing that they do. See, I don't know the exact like terminology for it. I know you might know it, Kobe, but I seen a video about it. A guy no clipped out of the map, and they had like so much stuff for like so long that you can't even see in the map, and they do that on purpose to make the game have more gigabytes
Hmm.
because that's supposed to eat up your storage and be like, oh, they're not gonna have room to download any other game, but they want our game so bad that it's gonna give them less options to play, so they're gonna be more inclined to keep playing our game, keep putting money into it. And that's so evil.
And scummy. Yeah,
That's so bad.
I
that's
agree.
I know there's a term for it, but I don't know what the term is.
yeah. I'm not quite sure about the term. Um, so I do kind of want to transition into this point. Um, we mentioned this about Call of Duty. You guys mentioned, these different games, the modern game, the modern first-person shooter, and we saw that a new game's coming out called Concord. And I'm not going to make a whole point about just Concord because nobody's going to play this game. This game is $40 and is essentially an Overwatch clone, and it's the same problem that's been going on with all these games. Call of Duty isn't like isn't like this, but it's still the problem with the modern game. They're oversaturating us with these 6v6 or these 5v5 hero shooters or these first person shooters where and it's just like nobody wants to play that. Nobody's happy with that sort of style of game. Of course, we want the casual, like 6v6 or 7v7 game, but when they start adding different you know, oh, here's a superpower and here's this. Oh, hey,
Yeah.
you could have like 8 attachments on your gun and it's like convoluting and making things not casual to the point where again, it goes to the meta. If you look at a game like Overwatch, there's a certain meta. You guys don't play Overwatch, but there's a hero called Orisa who's a tank, and she makes the game unbearable. And she recently got nerfed, and nobody plays her. Wow, like it's so hard to sit there and play a game today without having some sort of meta or having some sort of ability and this like that, things like that, and it's these game developers are losing their touch with the consumer and they're making the games the same carbon copy paste. Call of Duty does it with their games before. If I play whatever it is, Modern Warfare 3 now, I'm pretty sure I'll be experiencing the same damn thing if I play Modern Warfare 2019. If I play any of these hero shooters now, I developers have made it so unfun to play these games. But they still continue to produce them. They mass produce these games. And it's this personally, I feel like there's going to be some sort of video game crash because not only have they increased the price of games, but the microtransactions that they continue to drop, eventually there's just going to be a a crash where Activision or whoever puts a whole bunch of money into a new game coming out and the sales are not going to be what they think it's going to be. And people are going to be out of jobs and people are just not going to buy the game and people are not going to have games that they want to play. It's inevitable in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that because I kind of felt that like a couple of months ago. Like I just rarely wanted to get on the game and play the game, mostly because there was nothing that I enjoyed, nothing that was fun to me. because I knew if I got on a multiplayer game, I'd get beat because I don't play games like I used to, and I would just want to get off. And this is the thing that kind of goes with Call of Duty. Why am I gonna pay 70, $80 to maybe play it once or twice, then get annoyed and say I'm never gonna play this again? Same thing with like Rainbow, in a sense. Like we've all played Rainbow, so it's kind of like you buy Rainbow, you get on it, and you just don't want to play it no more because of how sweaty it is. And
Hmm.
it's the same concept with COD. See, if I'm gonna get COD, the thing that I'm really mostly excited about is the zombies, and that's about it. But what like I have a take on that. Actually, you know, things what COD has been really rubbing me the wrong way with is the fact that they don't know the size of maps that they want to go with because you know I shouldn't be running 20-25 minutes around the whole map and not see a soul. Like COD is a first person shooter. You're supposed to spawn and you should see somebody within the first 30 seconds of you moving from where you spawn. You should. And my thing, because I don't know if y'all remember from Black Ops 2, the map Aftermath. I don't know
Oh
if y'all
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
um, I would spawn, I would walk around for a couple minutes and not see nobody, and then the games just take forever. But like I feel in a based way how the map should be. We should have one map like shipment, and all the other ones should be about medium size. It shouldn't be too small, and it shouldn't be too big. I think it should be kind of like, in a sense, Nuketown, but a little bit bigger than Nuketown.
Like standoff.
Yeah, in a sense,
Yeah.
yeah, like standoff. So, but I feel like you always have to have that one small map like shipment to where people are
All the
excited.
sweats can sit there and jerk each other off and get
Exactly
70 kills in 5 seconds.
that, and the quick scoping. People do quick scopes, and
Hmm.
I know if they bring back challenges to get camos, those close range kills with the SMGs, that map would work wonders to get those challenges done. And that's my thing is they need to kind of look at the challenges they put in these games and being like, okay, is this realistic on this map that they're able to get long shots or they're able to get point blanks, stuff like that. But they obviously, I'm not a developer. I'm sitting here, I'm just rambling, I'm yapping right now. But I'm never gonna make a Call of Duty in my life. But for me playing COD, I just have my own opinions. As in, I don't want to run around 5 minutes and not see nobody. I want to be able to get my score streak, you know, in the first 10, 15 minutes of playing because the matches are not that long. So how you gonna have a match that's 5 minutes and you don't see nobody until like the 4 minute mark? Like it makes no
Yeah.
sense. Or I probably have like 3 kills by the end of the game because I can't find nobody. But I know I haven't played the past CODs. I don't remember the last one I played, so I can't really sit there and say that those games had horrible maps because I didn't play them. But what I know always about COD, it always turned out to be an SMG meta. And what I didn't like
Hmm.
is, yeah, ARs, they're good, shotguns, they're good, but I shouldn't be getting long shotted with an SMG. If you think about it, an AR should be good from long range, medium range to long range. SMG should not really do powerful damage unless you're like 2 feet from me. But I know some people may hate that because you have shotguns, and shotguns even give hit markers sometimes, which I do not understand at all. A shotgun, if I hit you and we're like this close to each other, I feel like you should be dead. That's me personally. Like I feel like nobody's living that shotgun shot. But I feel
Yeah.
like SMG time to kill SMG when you're point blank should be ridiculously high, but the damage drop off from being in that medium range should definitely drop off because I feel like ARs are really useless at that point. Yeah, they're slower. They're slower to shoot, they have more ammo, but they're slower to shoot, and it's like SMGs can do the same thing. So why would I not use a higher firing weapon at medium range and I still get the same damage? Like I just don't understand that. I
Yeah.
just really hope that it changes it a little bit.
Well,
Absolutely.
I think I can't really say how the guns are going to perform, but I know, like, SMGs, like you said, have been like pretty dominant. Uh, Again, Advanced Warfare, the ASM-1 was pretty dominant. Black Ops 3, if you weren't running the VMP, you're fucked. And then like the MP7 from past CODs,
Yeah, I
it's
Yeah,
mean the meta goes all the way back to the very beginning because you had like the OG Modern Warfare. You had the M16 with
the
what
MP5.
do they call it? Well, the M16 was a one burst, but yeah.
Yeah,
And then you had like the ACR with what's that shit?
it was the
That
UMP.
one man army. When
Yeah, you're talking about like perks. Oh,
yeah, the
I know what you
ACR
mean.
went crazy. But yeah, like every single one of them had a meta. The
Hmm.
World at War had the MP40. Like
Yeah, the
every single one of them had a meta. But like to our points the whole time, you could still play with the other guns and have fun and dominate with the other guns. But nowadays, ever since about that like 2018, 2019 type of time frame, that's around when you stop being able to just do what you want and play with the classes that you wanted to play with.
yeah, you
And
kind of
now
have to.
everything's so one format. You have to run these attachments. You have to go on YouTube and watch somebody who's way better than you tell you how to play.
Yeah,
And that's just not fun. I'm not paying $70 for a game to have somebody else tell me how to play. I
right.
bought the damn game. I'm using the whole game.
yeah,
But I wanted to go back to a point that you were talking about a little earlier, Kobe.
Hmm.
How you said you predict a video game crash sometime in the future.
Yeah.
Well, I I feel like this is gonna sound extremely negative, but like I don't think there ever will be for one reason and one reason only. No matter how bad games get, there's still gonna be millions and millions of people that always want to play games. So they're
yep,
gonna buy it regardless of how bad it gets. But not only that, no matter how good Black Ops 6 does, like here's the thing. If Black Ops 6 is a trash game, it's a Modern Warfare 2019, copy paste. If it's a bad game, people are still going to buy it. It's still going to sell out. It's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars for Activision and their shareholders.
Hmm.
And they're going to get their money. They're going to be happy, even if the consumer isn't. And the next Call of Duty is going to come out.
Oh yeah,
And they're going to buy it again because they
it's
want
the
to
COD
see
cycle.
maybe they had another chance. And they're going to keep buying it regardless. But even if Black Ops 6 does everything right, if this is the best game that we've had since Black Ops 3, if this is the best Call of Duty we've had in so many years, everything goes exactly the way we want it to. Everybody's going to be hyped. Everybody's going to be like, "Oh my god, Call of Duty's back." And then Activision's going to see that. They're going to see the hype built around that game, and they're never going to go outside the box again. They're going to stick to their format, and they know people are going to buy it even more because Black Ops 6 did good. And that's just the thing. Game developers are too scared to innovate. They're too scared to go outside of the box because risk affects profit margins. And that's what it is. Video games went from being passion projects by indie studios, third party people, to wealthy, multi billion dollar corporations trying to increase profit margins and line the pockets of their shareholders. It's not about the casual gamer. It's not about having fun. It's not about people making games because it's their passion. It's all about making money.
It feels like games back then had to go above and beyond to make their game great for them, for people to like actually want to buy it and them to actually get a profit.
They had to be
Nowadays,
unique. They had to
yeah,
have a soul.
yeah. And now we see that sort of mindset with indie game developers, which is why, hey guys, if you listen to this, support an indie developer. Support someone who actually puts time and effort into a game. Like the guy who created Stardew Valley, Concerned Ape. because it could be anybody. Support an indie developer. Wait, these mass corporations, these mass produced games that are just copy paste of, they're not that good. And like you mentioned, what's gonna happen? Funny enough, I actually have a COD cycle meme right here. It starts off with new COD gets released, then it goes to people enjoying the game, then the whole, people regret buying it, and then everybody hates on the game and talks about the flaws, and they complain about the same flaws that were in the previous COD game. Then they say they missed the older COD games. They say it wasn't that bad. Then the rumors start to happen. The leaks of the next COD show up. Everybody gets hyped. They play the old COD that they hated on until the new one comes out, and then voila, the cycle continues.
Yep. So what time are we at right now?
Um, we're at 1 hour and 30 minutes.
All right. It's about time to wrap it up. It's about
Yeah.
time to get to our conclusions.
So I do want to thank for anyone listening. Thank you for watching. Um, I promise there's there was times where we were all over the place and we were saying things and we were just yapping, but we'll get better with this. This is our first time. We want you to stay along with this journey from us with us, and we do appreciate, any listeners. And any final thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I'd like to say a couple of things. So, first of all, like Kobe said, if you listen, if you made it this far, you're a real OG. Like, I want you to know that. You're a real OG. If you made it this far and you listened to us yap this entire time, you're a real OG. Whatever you're doing, do it well. And thank you for supporting us. We're just trying to keep the play alive. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to create something that we haven't created for ourselves just yet. We are local people, just regular, humble, down the bayou folk, trying to make a name for ourselves, doing something we love. And if you made it this far, then you are one of our loyal supporters, and we will never forget you. We appreciate you. And always remember, for your life, keep the play alive, because we all deserve those extra yards. We all deserve to do something to the best of our abilities. So just make how you do anything, how you do everything. Gavin, you want to say anything?
Yeah, like they said it perfect. If you sat here and listened to this, you know, please comment, please like, um, we will. I mean, we'll talk about trying to do a TikTok thing also because once we get enough people, we go on TikTok live and we can answer questions directly, time in real time. If you do have any questions from what we talked about in any of this, or you just have a comment to what one of us said, drop it down below. We'll mention it in the next week. We'll talk about it. We'll have a portion in the beginning to talk about you guys because y'all always come first. Our supporters comes first before anything else. So, right when we start, we'll answer questions. We'll look at y'all comments and that. But like if you have any questions about any one of us, that we talked about in the beginning about our lives, or do you want to know more about us? You have a question about us, or where we stand on some parts, like with their favorite basketball team or my favorite MLB team. Like if you just curious about anything, let us know. Don't be shy. Don't comment down below. Our first few y'all gonna be definitely the real OGs. Y'all gonna be here and y'all gonna be supported by us. And Stan wants to talk too, but he ain't. Um, but like Magnus said, y'all really real if you stayed this entire time because you know we're not expect like we don't want to get overly famous. We just want people to listen to us. You know, out of anything we talk about, because it won't always be about sports. It won't always be about gaming. It may be about, I don't know if you guys had been seeing the stuff going on with the shark attacks.
Yes, yes, I
That's been,
have.
maybe we can talk about that next week. But um, anything that y'all want us to talk about. Like
Mhm.
if y'all have a topic that you guys want us to hear our opinions on, drop it down below. But I don't want to take all Kobe's time because I'll let Kobe close this out. But like Magnus said, keep the play alive and love each other. And yeah, that's all I got.
I want to thank you two personally. I want to thank you two for, this is going to be a big journey for all of us. Uh, and I couldn't be happier to call you guys co-hosts. And for our viewers, one last thing: if there's any sort of suggestions that guys have for us, please drop them. Let us know. Let us know how you think about this first episode. If you hated it, if you loved it, any sort of feedback is good feedback. But that being said, I want you guys to have a great night. I want you guys to have a great week. We will see you again soon. Keep the play alive.
Sir.